2025 has certainly been filled with much controversy surrounding the cost of gaming. With both Nintendo and Xbox raising their prices quite recently, it's not going to be too long until we see other companies following suit. And it certainly seems like a crazy proposition to me to spend over $80 for just one game on the market at the moment. Not only are many games not living up to that price tag, but are leaving us with much less in our bank accounts afterwards. Here's the thing, I do think there is an emerging trend that needs to be highlighted, which is what has inspired today's video. One trend that I'm incredibly hopeful about, especially for the future of gaming. But before we talk about that, we need to first analyze the problem, that being the $80 problem. This would have been the $70 problem just a few weeks ago when I had the idea to talk about this in a video, until Nintendo opened up Pandora's box by making certain brand new games for the Switch 2 $80 and $90 in their physical versions. It honestly boggles my mind because we went 20 years or so before the increase from $60 to $70, and in the space of 3 or 4 years, we're now up to $80. Much of the negativity has been directed towards AAA publishers because they've essentially been overselling and under-delivering in recent years. There's only been a handful of games that I could really say have lived up to that price point, and now it's only really going to get worse because the prices have gone up. Value, of course, will vary from person to person, but the fact remains a majority of games that are releasing year on year are woefully overvalued. The focus has shifted from making a game to making a service, all in an attempt to siphon off money from any and all of their players. Slap another $10 on top of that and it's going to start squeezing players' bank accounts that much more. Not to mention, the world is kind of going through a cost of living crisis at the moment, so it's not really in your best interest to be spending that much money on games. Inflation certainly has played a part in all aspects of the gaming industry. The cost of making games is becoming higher now, at least at the AAA level, which is ballooning the budgets of these games. Further compounding the problem is publishers want to recoup costs and also make a profit, which has led to live service elements being force-fed into a lot of games, and like updates and battle passes, DLCs, all that stuff being added on top to make as much money as possible. But the problem is, it means that games are becoming bloated to be able to keep players around for longer. They're becoming formulaic, and effectively they're becoming money printers rather than being fun. You know, the reason why we play games. Not every AAA game is like this, but you can certainly point to the culprits of this problem, and it's not really going away anytime soon. If anything, other publishers are probably going to follow suit with Nintendo and Xbox and raise their prices. And I mean, Xbox totally upped their prices right before the release of the new Doom to take full advantage of it. So yeah, you can kind of see where the headspace is. But alas, it is not all doom and gloom. There is a solution, or at least a trend that I've been noticing that I want to talk about here. And that is the $50 or less solution. Yeah, I couldn't think of a fun name for this. Over the last 2 years, I've started to see many games releasing at lower starting prices and absolutely blowing up across the board. Balatro, Helldivers 2 last year, Expedition 33, and Oblivion Remastered just a month ago. All of these games under $50 at the start price. What a large majority of these games do is remove the bloat. Remove all the unnecessary that's added into games and focus on creativity, the most important part of what a developer has to offer. Creative ways to change the genre or iterate on long-standing gameplay systems. Take, for example, Expedition 33. You have a turn-based system loved by many and then transformed essentially into an action game. Helldivers 2 focuses on the crazy moments that you can have within its sandbox, which it then funnels into a 15 to 20 minute manic session that is easily accessible for everybody to get involved. There are countless games out there that are much cheaper and focus on creating a great experience, and honestly, they make a mockery of the AAA side of gaming. Having smaller budgets, a smaller scale, a smaller vision, but a more creatively honed vision in this case, can lead to some of the best outcomes. It allows for more risks or problem solving for certain things because you don't have the budget that these massive games do. And honestly, it can lead to creative remixes on genres. Bigger doesn't always mean better, and throwing more money at something to make it work doesn't land either. This is a lesson that AAA publishers need to learn, not necessarily developers. There's plenty of developers out there, as it's shown with Expedition 33, that you can make an absolute masterpiece of a game with a small team. Expedition 33 inspired this video, and so did the announcement of Mafia Old Country that is retailing at $40 in just a few months' time. When announcements like this happen, it shouldn't surprise me as much as it does. This is purely down to how much the price of gaming has soared in recent times, and it's really cool to see companies like 2K release a game like Mafia Old Country. It's nice to see cheaper games on offer. These $50 or less games are filling a much needed gap in the industry, and honestly, it's kind of restoring my hope for the future of gaming. As of this video today, there are a few games on the horizon that are fitting into this very category. Elden Ring Night Rain, Dune Awakening, Rematch, and no doubt quite a few others. Remasters and remakes also fall into this category. Whilst I have made a video on how remakes can become a problem, if they are utilized to bring new eyes to an old franchise or test the waters of an old franchise at a lower price, then I'm all for it, especially if it means we get to experience a game for the first time or even get a new entry in the future. Just look at Oblivion Remastered as an example. The point I'm trying to make is that there has been so many games recently that have been $50 or less that I want to see this continue as a trend. The crazy part about this is all those games that start at $50 or less, when they go on sale and drop down to maybe $30 or even $20 at times, just makes this even better because it means cheaper games, more things that you can play, and it's easier to recommend them to friends without them wincing at the price when they initially see it. We need to support this trend a little bit more, because if we as players and consumers show that we want more of this, not games filled with microtransactions or over bloated games that go into the 60 to 70 hour range because of these live service elements, just good quality games for a reduced price that we can all love and support. Although I do wear glasses, I'm not blind to this being a unviable business strategy. There may be a reason that games are being priced up, but I often feel like when a game has incredible success, it further enforces the narrative that we don't need to oversell the amount that we pay for games. It always feels like the big publishers have got so much riding on one game that if it fails, the company is then thrown into turmoil. 2 of those in a row and you're in real trouble. Looking at you, BioWare and Ubisoft, going for Hail Marys all the time can backfire just as much as they can be successful. But what it boils down to in the end, and the point of this video, is just money. How much can these publishers make? Hopefully, this trend of lower priced new releases can become the new one and then some. I'm optimistic as always, and I'm always positive towards these types of trends. But realistically, it's not going to happen, is it? Because in a year's time, we're probably going to be having this same debate once again when another game comes out for like $150 or something. But let me know down in the comment section what you think. Should games be priced the way they are? Should they be cheaper? Let me know down in the comments. And as always, if you've enjoyed this, leave a like on the video, subscribe as always to keep up with more content, and stay tuned for my Doom video coming real soon on the channel. As always, this has been Jimbo, and I'll see you guys next time.